Or Appendix 3B, the mission partner with external with the public key information approval of the process. Unclassified mission partner with the commercial with the vendor, external with the public key information of the DoD, chief of the information, all with the oversee with the approval of the profit, the unclassified mission partner, commercial vendor, public key information, author approve of the unclassified mission public key information, public key infrastructure that must not be used with the authenticated with the classified network system, special requirements for each of the public key infrastructures over the summary of the paragraph 3B1C. Typically unclassified mission partner with commercial vendor, external with the public key infrastructure, Federal Executive Branch Department of the Agency, Public and Personal Identification, Public Key Infrastructure. Some of the individual Federal Executive Branch Departments of the agencies over to operate their own public key infrastructure. The issue with the private information verification, public key infrastructure credentials to their personnel. Federal Executive Branch share with the services of the provider of the public identification verification, public key infrastructure with some of the federal department agencies. The contract with the public key infrastructure services under the GFA public key infrastructure SSP with the program U with the X30509 certificate with the U with the federal public key infrastructure common policy framework under the SS program. You service provide with the federal public key infrastructure for the participating commercial public key infrastructure. The other federal executive branch department agency public key infrastructure issue the public this public identification verification public key infrastructure credentials to their personnel. Commercial medium hardware publication public key infrastructure. Commercial medium hardware public key infrastructure issue the use of large DoD industry partners. Aerospace department they usually issue with the public key the indicator infrastructure credentials along to the employee of the contractor that may use the public key infrastructure credentials to the organization of the memorandum of understanding with the DoD permits it. Commercial personal identification, verification, interoperability, public key information operation. Commercial personal identification variable, interoperability, public key infrastructure issuers, usually companies secure identity with the authentication business company with the public and personal identification variable, interoperable credentials, employee with a contractor or the commercial organization that would likely do business with federal government who want to develop the public key, their own public key infrastructure that do not prevent their companies from issuing the personal identifiable verification interoperable credential with their own personal with a memorandum understanding with a permit that personal identification verification and operability issues also issues personal identification verification and operability to the state and local governments of the non-executive federal entities of the United States and the Senate. Some of the CCEB partners of the personal key and infrastructure of CEB personal partner nations operative with their own classified personal key infrastructure issue credential with their bid personnel. Other mission partner with the external personal key infrastructure the unclassified DoD non-classified DoD networks. Other mission partner with the non-CCEB foreign governments group with the multinational organizations of the North Atlantic Treaty. They must seek the approval of the personal key infrastructure unclassified DoD networks. Unclassified mission partner with the commercial vendor external with the public key infrastructure approval of criteria with the policy map. The mission partner with the commercial vendor will provide the policy mapping documentation of the DoD public key infrastructure. The program management office providing compliance with the audit documentation of the DoD public key information program manager office can identify with the credential of the risk of the potential impact of the mission partner with the DoD chief of the information officer these requirements of the certificate practice with the OID with the RMAP with the media with the hardware with the CPT certificate protocol certificate practice OID with the X509 certificate policy with the federal bridge certification authority either directly through the public key infrastructure bridge crossing certificate of the federal bridge certificate authority. Common hardware with the common authentication common certificate policy OID with the X509 certificate policy federal bridge certificate authority. Medium hardware approved with the certificate OID with the current edition of the USDO X509 CP. Sponsorship and coordinating with the role of the DoD, come on with the DoD, chief of the information office may identify with the business case of the mission, the D with the DoD, except with the personal key infrastructure with the credentials of the mission partner for the commercial with the external with the personal key infrastructure with the federal personal identification verification, SSFP, personal identification verification, public key infrastructure does not require sponsorship. Inoperable testing. Upon request of the DoD, chief of the information of the Defense of the Intelligence Security Agency, the GITC, will test mission partner with the commercial vendors, the external with the public key infrastructure credential certificate, technical operability with the DoD information system with the web server, the email client with the verify with the Department of Defense information with the RFD with a certain verification status information with the CCEB with the nation with the public key infrastructure with the DoD chief of the information officer will work GITC facilitate whenever the inoperable testing necessary for the pursuit of the Allied Communication Public 185 further information at JITC website with the JITC FHUVISA mil projects Public Key Infrastructure Index ASPX. Review. The Department of Defense, the Chief of the Information Officer, review of the business care of the bench and the need of the policy map of the critical risk analysis, potential impact, inoperable testing result, and you determine whether the mission part with the commercial vendor with the external of the personal key infrastructure present with except for the risk of the use with unless the Department of Defense system on the application of the federal personal identification verification, public key infrastructure does not require the review memorandum of understanding. Commercial vendor defense of the industry of the mission part with a foreign mission partner with must sign an appropriate agreement. The agreement with the Department Chief of the Information Office. The Department Chief of the Information Officer will coordinate memorandum of understanding and drafting signature of the profit of the minister, mission partners, the Office of the General Counsel, the Department of Defense memorandum of the commercial vendors, include the provision report any independent sale of the power with the Department of Defense Chief of the Information Officer, representative of the Committee with the Foreign Investment within the United States Federal Personal Identification, SSP, Personal Identification, Public Key Information, Public Key Infrastructure due to the memorandum of understanding repository, and all parties signing with the memorandum of understanding the JITS testing successfully complete with the Federal Personal Identification and the SP Personal Identification Public Key Infrastructure. DoD Chief of the Information notified with the DISA with the new mission partner with the commercial vendor. Public Key Information has been approved within 60 days of the receipt of the notification of the DISA with the most post Public Key Infrastructure Trust Chain with the DISA repository. DoD approved mission partner with the commercial vendor external with the Public Key Infrastructure Cyber Mill Public Key Infrastructure Public Key enabling interoperability infrastructure update to maintain the status of the partners in good standing with the DoD. Approve the mission part of the commercial vendors must notify the DoD Chief of the Information DIS whenever the deploy with the rekey the certification authority for the DoD. Approve of the Public Key Infrastructure update with the memorandum and standing with the reflect with the Chief certificate of authority with the DoD Chief of the Alpha Information Officer review with the new Chief certificate of authority determines that it is necessary support with the additional JIT testing with the DoD CIO review of the new certificate of authority determining if they are necessary to provide DISA with the information necessary to provide the new public key information on the cyber mill with the public key interoperability. Unclassified mission partner, external public key information mapping and approval of cut with the tables of one indicate with approval of cut with the crowd with the unclassified mission partner with external public key information. 3B2 Secret Fabric Mission Partner External Public Key Information. The DoD CIO will oversee with approval of the process of the Secret Fabric Partnership. Department of Chief of the Information Officer with the oversee with validity approval of the Office of Secret Fabric Mission Partner Public Keys Information. Federal Executive Branch Department Agency Public Key Infrastructure CNSSP 25 requires all Federal Executive Branch Department to obtain with the certificate of the NSSP Public Key Information Instructor certificate for the NSS Public Key Infrastructure including the DoD NSS Public Key Infrastructure the NSSP Public Key Infrastructure Common Service Provider other agency the NSS Public Key Infrastructure Certificate Authority approved for use. DoD cleared contractor asking secret protocol network for contractor sites. Contractor public key infrastructure not approved with the use of the secret protocol in the network. DoD contractor must obtain public key infrastructure certificate. DoD NSA public key infrastructure certificate authenticated security public security protocol network. Secret protocol network resources regardless of the resource location requirement apply with regards to whether the cleared contractors enrolled with defense enrolled in the eligibility reporting system with regards to whether the contract side of the secret protocol for network connection operate with Microsoft Active Directory environment. CCEB partner with the public key infrastructure. CCEB partner public key infrastructure approved with the DoD secret fabric if they meet with the requirements paragraph 3B2C16. Policy map. The CCEB partner must meet with the secret fabric of the public key infrastructure certificate practice of the against the requirements special of the Allied Communication Publication 185 with identified any of their public key infrastructure does not meet Allied Communication Publication 185 requirements. Sponsorship of the DoD Public Key Infrastructure PMA with the sponsor for all of the CCEB Nation Public Key Infrastructure interoperability. DoD Chief of the Information Officer work with the Defense with Intelligence Security Agency facilitate inoperable testing of the CCEB Public Key Infrastructure Review. DoD Chief of the Information Officer will review the policy mapping, inoperability testing, result of the consult with the Joint Staff of the DoD Public Key Information Program Manager Office to determine whether the CCEB partners Secret Fabric Public Key Infrastructure set with the DoD Security Fabric. The DoD CCEB partner will be cross-certificated with the Secret Fabric Public Key Infrastructures in accordance with January 10, 2020 DoD Chief of the Information Office Memorandum 5 ISP Personal Key Infrastructure Allied Communication Publication 185. Memorandum and other understanding the CCEB partner must sign the certificates of the cross-certificate authority. The DoD Chief of the Information only sign again on the agreement the DoD Public Key Information Program Manager Office made direct DoD NSS Public Key Infrastructure cross-certificate issuances to the CCEB partner Secret Fabric Public Key Infrastructure Repository. Once all parties sign with the memorandum of understanding with the DoD Chief of the Information notified with the DIS of the new mission from the partnering PKI has been approved within 6 days of the receipt of the notification. The DIS must impose to the CCA Public Key Infrastructure Trusting of the DIS proposed the DoD approve the mission partner PKI, CyberMill PI, PK, inoperability, other mission partner for external public key information and public key infrastructure. Other mission partners, secret fabricated public key infrastructure, commercial on-screen public key, and commercial on-secret public key infrastructure, non-CCEB, foreign government public key infrastructure group, multinational public key infrastructure such as North Atlantic Treaty Organization approved with the DoD secret fabric networks if they meet these requirements. Policy mapping. Mission partner will provide policy map documentation DoD Public Key Information Program Manager over the complying with the audit of the documentation. DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Manager can identify with the critical risk and potential impact of the mission partnership with the DoD Chief of the Information Officer require the Chief of Practice the OID with the map the correct with the CO certificate of practices OID with the DoD as inoperable domain X509 certificate prior with the sponsorship of the DoD component with the DoD Chief of the Information identify with the business in case of the need of the inoperable public key information operation, infrastructure, interoperability. DoD Chief of the Information Officer will with the DoD Public Key Information and Public Key Infrastructure Program Manager over the facility inoperable testing mission with a partner with the Public Key Infrastructure can safely, securely authenticate the DoD Secret Fabric resources. Gateway of demilitarized zone with the DoD maker with the review of the DoD Chief of the Information Officer with a review of the business case with the mission need policy making critical risk and potential impact inoperable testing determining whether the mission partner personal key infrastructure presents acceptable risk of the DoD Secret Fabric Network memorandum of understanding. All the partner with a personal key infrastructure must carry over the appropriate memorandum of understanding with the Department of Defense. Repository, all parties with a sign on the memorandum of the agreement of the DoD Chief of the Information Officer notified with the DISA with a new mission on the partner with the public key infrastructure that has been approved within 60 days of the receipt of the notification. The DISA must host the PIK Public Key Infrastructure Trusting the DISA repository, DoD approved mission partner public key infrastructure at the cyber level of PKE interoperability. Or glossary. Authenticator Assurance Level Certification Authority Common Access Card Combined Communication Electronics Board Chief of the Information Officer of the Committee of the National Security System Directive Instruction Policy Certificate Practice Statement Certificate Revocation List Director National Security Agency Chief Central Security Services Defense Information System Agency Defense Manpower Data Center Department of Defense Directive Department of Defense Instructions Executive Agent External Certificate Authority Enterprise Email Message Security Gateway Electronic Mail Federal Information Processing Standards, General Officer, Flag Officer, General Service Administrator, Identifying Credential Access Management, Information System, Information Technology, Joint Inoperable Test Command, Local Registration Authority, Mobile Device Management, Memorandum of Agreement, Mission Partner Environment, NEATS and NIPR Enterprise Alternate Token System, Non-Classified Internet Protocol Router, National Institute of Standard Technology, Non-Partisan Entity, National Security Agency, National Security System, Objective Identifier, only locally trusted, personal identification, personal verification, interoperability, public key, enabling infrastructure policy management authority, program management, off-site registering authority, real-time automated personal identification system, senior executive service, secret internet protocol router, network special publication shared service provider, trusted agent, web content filter, and that completes the book. We have references. We have public key infrastructure cross certification between combined communication electronics board nations. We have the assignment of the program management office responsibility with the Department of Defense Public Key Infrastructure. National Directive to implement public key infrastructure on secret networks. National Directive to identify with its credential the access management capability of the federal security fabric. Instruction Security National Security Public Keys Infrastructure X509 Certificate Policy on the CNSS Policy number 25. Committee of National Security System, Glossary, National Policy, Public Infrastructure, National Security System, Releasability, Embedded Local Area Network, Security Technical Implementation Guide, Overview, DoD Mobile Public Key Infrastructure Credentials, Requirement of Five Eyed Nations, Establish Public Eye Infrastructure and Operable DoD Classified Networks, DoD Executive Agency, DoD Mission Partner Environment, DoD Chief of the Information Officer, Disclosure Classified Military Information, Foreign Governments, International Organization, Visit Assignment Foreign Nationals, DoD Enterprise Identity with a Credential Access Management Reference Design, Identification Cards of the members of the uniformed service dependent of the other eligible individuals, DoD Personal Identification Protection Program, and Reduction Social Security Number DVD with the Department of Defense. Control of the Unclassified Information International Agreement of the Department of Defense, Veterans Affairs with Healthcare, Resource Sharing Program, Mission Partner, Environmental Information Sharing Capability, Employment, Implementation, Department of Defense, Cybersecurity, Identification, Authentication Information System, Cybersecurity Support with the DoD Information Network Operation, DoD Privacy Civil Liberties Programs, and Breach Prepared Response Plan, United States Intelligence Activities, Security Requirements for the Cryptographic Modules, Standard of Security, Categorizing Federal Information Systems, Personal Identification Verification, Federal Employees and Contractors, X509 Certificate Policy, Federal Bridge Certification Authority, Federal C509 Certificate Policy, U.S. Federal Public Key Information Common Policy Framework, General Service Administration, Use of Electronic Signal Field Organizational Transaction, Homeland Security Presidential Directive and 12 Policy of the Common Identification Standard with Federal Employees and Contractors, Joint and Operable Testing Command Website Public Key Infrastructure, Memorandum Agreement of the Department of Defense to the Department of the Homeland Security, Department of Defense, U.S. Coast Guard Cooperation, Cybersecurity Operation, National Institute Standard Technology Special Publication Guideline of the Dental Information System, National Security System, National Institute Standard of the Technology Special Publication 863 Digital Identification Guideline, Office Management Budget 8130 Managing Information Strategic Resource, M17 Preparing of the Responding to the Breach of Personal Identifiable Information. Certificate Policy Current Technical Attachment Action Mitigate the Microsoft Credential Theft, Microsoft Windows Credential Theft Vulnerabilities. U.S. Department of Defense External Security and Certificate Policy Card in addition, the Defense of the S Interoperability X509 Certificate Policy Version, Department of Defense Web Content X509 Certificate Policy Version 1, and a U.S. Department of Defense X509 Certificate Policy Current Edition. Okay, and that completes the Department of Defense Public Key Information, Public Key Infrastructure, and Public Key Enabling Clear for Public Release available to the Director of the Divisions.